Hello everyone. This is Taruna B. Khanna. I'm your verbal mentor and I'll be taking you through your journey of preparation for all the examinations that you have written for your management entrance test. So today in specific, I'm going to talk about OMETs, that means other management entrance tests that you have filled in the form for after CAT. Obviously, so herein I'm going to target two major segments which you actually need to prepare maybe right from scratch, or you need to have a reviewed sort of a view on, because these are the concepts that are not asked in CAT. So you need to have a refresh look at these concepts, and this video is going to be a sort of really handy device for those who want a last minute revision of all the major concepts. All right, so let's get started with it. uh, the two major things that I want to talk about in today's sessions are verbal ability and logical reasoning for OMET. And that's going to be an introductory session to all the major concepts asked. Obviously, it's not feasible as an idea for me to cover almost everything in this short video, but I try my level best that I make you get acquainted with those terms which you will have to practice upon and get to the required level for the examination. All right, so let's get started. So if you see the things from the broader perspective, you realize that in the examination, be it ZAT, be it SNAP, be it NMAT, whichever examination you filled in the form for, you happen to see, other than reading comprehension, I repeat, other than reading comprehension passages, there are certain questions asked. They test you at your ability to use this language, that is English. All right, so what are the major subcategories that we can derive from that segment? There are vocabulary based questions, first and foremost things. Then there are grammar or usage based questions, and there are paragraph or LR, what we call it, logical reasoning or verbal reasoning also we do term as. So there are questions based on these three. Now, what are vocabulary based questions? Obviously, the format of the question may vary, but the objective and the knowledge of the concepts that are needed to be prepared for remain the same. That means you have to work on your word list. All the common words should be on the tip of your tongue. Then most of the words should be there prepared in a manner that you know the antonym and synonyms of the same. And that's going to be a great and wonderful idea if you have prepared sufficiently that what are the idioms and phrases drawn out of the common words that you have prepared. What are the concepts that help you have a strong diction? These all are the things that you should prepare for scoring good in vocabulary based questions. Now, coming to grammar or usage based question, obviously that tests you at the functionality of the concepts. Functionality means it's not about only the rule, it's about where and how does this rule function in a given situation or scenario that is presented to you in form of text. Okay, so that is tested. So what do you have to prepare to work upon the functionality of the grammar or the usage of the things that you've learned as rules, regulations, or maybe the application of certain concepts that you've learned so far. Okay, so this all is tested. Then, last but not the least, there are questions based on paragraph, or there are questions that test you at your verbal reasoning. Okay, so para-based questions could be para-jumble, para-completion, it could be para-summary, or there could be other LR-based questions, like I'm just writing it para-jumble. You know it, like most of you, you're aware because you would prepare them for your cat as well, right? For there is slight difference for the LR here, because there are questions directly maybe on conclusion. There are questions directly on the inference. There are questions on the strengthening or weakening of the of a set or of a particular point of view, or there could be questions on assumptions too. So there are certain concepts of verbal reasoning that you might be tested at. All right. For today, in specific, I have brought something. What is that? Out of these three major categories, I have thought of creating a video that helps you on the functional grammar based questions and vocabulary based questions. Okay, so but what is there that you're tested at? I mean, what is there in the question that is actually examiner is looking for, and that is actually you need to prepare for? Okay, so this is the common idea that examiner wants you to test it, and this is what you have to prepare for. So if I'm delivering that exact thing, that I guess putting in the right amount of efforts in this very direction, you can actually make the most of it. So how do we go about it? What are the things tested? Let's talk about that. So all the major concepts which are tested, if I talk about the functionality of a concept, okay, of the grammar rules. Basically, let me first talk about these are related concepts to grammar rules and application. So what is functionality? I hope you all understand that how does this concept function. एक rule सिर्फ नहीं होता कि ये rule है, इसमें singular के साथ singular verb लगता है, plural noun के साथ plural verb लगता है. It's not about the rule, but there are certain exceptions also to those. So in this given scenario, are you able to put the right verb at its right place? So this is called functionality. Okay, so you need to know the rule, and you need to know where and how and to what degree does it function in the given situation. So that is called functionality. So these are the concepts which basically believe are tested, that we majorly tag them as impact. But what actually is the standard form of it? It is R stands for redundancy. You're actually tested your at your ability to negate the present redundancy in the sentence. Redundancy means not an idea which is presented for more than one time, whereas presenting it for the one time only could have conveyed the expression grammatically correct, right? Like if many a time you people do use it, okay, I'll return back that to you. So here, using the term like return back makes no sense. Return is actually either to give or come back. That actually has the word back in it. It has that word inbuilt in it. So if you say return back, you're ideally you're saying I'll come back or I'll give back. So you're using the word, the applicability of the word back is present twice, and this is what you have to check. You're not supposed to pick up a sentence which has the error of redundancy. So in the examination, there are direct questions asked. There are 4-5 sentences given, and you'll be asked to pick either the correct ones or the incorrect ones. So if you have worked upon your concept of redundancy, you'll be able to pick the correct and incorrect sentences respectively. Then the other important aspect that you tested at is idiomatic expressions. As I said, a word is a word till it functions as the meaning it carries. But if it gets attached to one more word, like a very simple example I always give of the same is call. Call as a word you all know, right? But if I use a word call up, so call as a word is different and up as a word is different, carries a different meaning. इसका मतलब ऊपर बुलाना तो नहीं होता है call up. When I use it as a phrase, okay, when I use it as a phrase, it means to give a phone call. All right. So there are certain idiomatic expressions. This is just the example of phrase. In the same way, we have many idioms existing. Okay, by hook or by crook. I want you to get this work done by hook or by crook. So I'm just saying I want you to get this work done anyhow. So instead of anyhow, I said I by hook or by crook. So these are the idioms. These are the terms which add beauty and flavor to the text. But if you don't know these, you probably are weak at comprehension as well as communication. It is considered. So there are certain common idiomatic expressions that you should know and you should have sufficiently prepared for when you're sitting for these examinations. Then the next concept that you tested at is modifiers and modals. There are certain words when added to the other word, they modify their meaning, essence, or intensity. Okay, so the words like very, many, few, little, a little, there are many such terms which exist in a statement to add, to modify something as an expression or an idea. So you need to know the applicability of those terms, and you're also tested at your knowledge of modals. What are modals? Modals are those helping verbs which give mood to the statement. So the words like can, could, should, may, might, could have, might have, must have. These all are the words which add mood to the statement. Like if I just say, I teach English, uh, but I do not teach maths. Okay. But one of my students suggested, ma'am, you should teach maths also. Now, when he said you should teach maths, so the word should is implicating that he's suggesting me, he's giving me a suggestion, or he's advising me to teach maths too. All right. So the presence of the word should converted or indicated the meaning, not only the meaning but also the mood with which that statement was made by one of my students. So it's crucial for you to know the modal auxiliary and their application. That is what you tested at also. The next concept might sound really uncommon, but it is the common most thing you'll happen to see. You're practicing it already, but you hardly realize that is parallelism. It is like following the very pattern of saying something. Like suppose there are two. If you're, using a lengthy statement to express your idea, and it's formed of two segments, okay, basically clauses. So this is clause one and that is clause two. All right. And you happen to see that something is said here in form of a verb that is mentioned in ing form of verb. You are joining both these portions clauses and you're again mentioning the verb here. So it cannot be in any other form. It has to be in the ing form only. So this is the parallelism in the expression that we call exist according to grammar rules and functionality. This when you read, like in the classes ahead, when I take up the discussion of the previous year questions, I'll tell you that what is the functionality of this concept, where is the functionality of this concept affecting your overall understanding of the sentence, right? So stay tuned for the further sessions too. Then you're also tested at the preposition. You all know it. I mean, this very concept has been there since your second standard of education, and it is going to be there till you're using this language. You're alive and you're using this language as a professional. So yes, you need to have a refresh look according to the level of the examination, right? Then comes arrangement and agreement. Well, see, arrangement ideally could be of sentence, it could be of paragraph. So if it is certain jumbled sentences are given to you, so you are required to arrange them. If there are fragments of paragraph, then you're required to rearrange them and put them into a meaningful information in form of a sentence or a paragraph respectively, right? So it is arrangement is tested. It's common for you because cat pj you have already worked upon para-jumbles. Agreement is very crucial and important concept. It talks about the agreement of all the concepts mentioned in a sentence. Specific subject verb agreement is major, and then we have the adjective and noun agreement also according to subject, that I'll teach you and I'll make you see how it functions in a sentence. So these all are the things which actually are tested. Like I'll just give you simple example. Like if you say he is teaching his students. All right. So when you say this statement, your subject is he. According to he, you're using is, that is a singular verb, since singular subject, singular verb. And for the possession also, you're using his. But suppose we want to talk about all your maths teachers till date that you've been taught by. So for them, you'll be using they, obviously. So you are going to use are, aligned, agreement, and then you are going to use their further for that. So they are teaching their students. So this is this seems to be really very simple as an idea, but obviously you're going to sit in an examination that tests you at the complexity of the concept, not the regularity of the concept. So obviously you will have some twisted sentences wherein figuring out this agreement will require an eye to detail and obviously a clear concept. So you don't go wrong with the concept, or you can prepare these concepts if you want to have a refresh look at, and number of resources are available for you people on a single click these days. So you can prepare all these concepts on your own from any good resource also, and come and discuss the questions with me in the coming videos. Okay, comparisons and conjunction, this is the next thing. See, comparison and conjunction is related to your knowledge of certain concepts like determiners, adjectives, and obviously conjunction. So comparison is one very common concept that we've been studying under adjectives, like degrees of comparison. You all know it: positive degree, comparative degree, superlative degree. This all we know already, right? It's the specific usage of those. Where do we use a superlative degree, and if in case we have to not change the meaning and we have to transform it, then what happens? So that again, a refresh look at these concepts like degree of comparison and conjunctions, like conjunctions. If you say, like, if you're using but, so obviously you're joining two contrary ideas, right? If you're talking positive here, so you're talking negative here. But if you're joining certain pieces of information with and, so you're joining them for the similar connotated idea. Like if you're talking positive here, so you're talking positive here too. All right. So understanding conjunction and their role is crucial to understand the overall essence of the text. Fine. That is what you tested at. Then comes, last but not the least, is tenses and transformation. Tenses is a very, very common concept. You all know it, right? Tense tests you at your ability to recognize the connection between action and the timeline of the action, as to when did that happen and now what time you're speaking about of the action. Okay, so the tense concept of tense has been again very basic, but since it is basic and important, so it is asked in your examination. So you have to actually know the concept from that perspective, where the applicability of present, past or future tense action is needed in this text. So वो आपको प्रिपेयर करना होगा. प्रिपेयर क्या करना होगा आता है आपको, बस एक बार रिवाइज करना होगा क्विकली, या जब मैं आपके साथ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करूंगी तो मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि ये कॉन्सेप्ट कैसे इस टेंस से रिलेटेड सही या गलत जा रहा है, राइट? सो दिस इज व्हाट विल बी सीइंग इन दी classes ahead when I take up previous year questions. Okay, transformation, though not directly asked anymore, but it has a key, I would say, a very important role to play in your understanding of the text and the idea flow carried by the text. Like many times, like you are supposed to convert or transform the text from one voice to another, like active to passive voice, or you're asked to transform the sentences on the basis of narration from direct to indirect, or you're asked to just convert a simple sentence into complex sentence or maybe a compound sentence. So if these concepts are sounding to be too cliched and you are finding them too too technical, let me tell you, you don't have to go by the terms, you have to go by their application. And this session aimed at making you acquainted with those concepts which are tested in the examination. So if you have time, morning hours, you just have a refresh look at any of the four given concepts, and then you come and solve questions. You are better off with your attempt. Even each day's attempt can be made better if you're just having a quick review of all these concepts already. Okay, so having said that these are the concepts tested in the examination, I want to now tell you that practicing these concepts, you can solve certain questions with me wonderfully, and you can be very sure of your attempts in the process of solving the question. How? Like, you will not be giving me the answer like, ma'am, according to me B should be the answer. You have to give me the answer like, ma'am, A cannot be the answer, C cannot be the answer, D cannot be the answer because it has this, that, so it's B that is the answer. That goes in alignment of parallelism, of tense, of preposition usage. It is the right idiomatic expression. Why? What is the base? What is the logic that is backing your answer choice being the right answer choice for the given question in the examination? Okay, and I'm not going to talk anything superficially. सारे questions previous year questions ही होंगे. कुछ एग्जामिनेशन के क्वेश्चंस यू नो दैट दे आर नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग, सो वी डोंट हैव द रीसेंट ईयर वंस एक्सेप्ट दैट. सो बट देखो, बेस सबका वही रहता है, कॉन्सेप्ट्स वही टेस्ट किए जाते हैं. तो आप मेरे साथ जो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, आइडियली वो कॉन्सेप्ट की प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो विद द हेल्प ऑफ प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस. So I ensure if you're learning these concepts with me in form of previous year question discussion, you are going to be very, very confident of your attempt in the examination. With this hope that you're going to be there further for the discussion, in which I have handpicked certain questions, particularly keeping those concepts in mind कि ये टेस्ट होता है एग्जाम में. मैंने वो क्वेश्चंस पिक किए हैं, प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस पिक किए हैं, जिसको मैं आप लोग के साथ सॉल्व करूंगी. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू सी यू ऑल देयर. And if possible, give a brief and quick look at all these concepts already, so that you can make the most of the attempts that we are going to make together in the further videos where I'll be solving previous year questions with you. All right, that's all for the video. I'll get to see you in the discussion ahead. Bye bye.